Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Tinesha Davis. This is Fun and Budget, and in today's video, I'm going to give you my 5 best tips for building wealth. Before we get into that, let me just tell you that today's video is a collaboration, and I feel like I'm on the, Bad Chicks of Finances tour. We have some of the most amazing financial gurus in this field, and we are all getting together to do a series called Let's Talk Money. We're going to be talking paying off debt with Shay of Shay Budgets. We're going to be budgeting with Elena of The Organized Money. We'll be investing with Nicole of Frugal Chic Life and saving money with Crystal of Chris the Maximizer. And then we'll move over and learn to manage our money with Michelle of Elaine Michelle. And you're here with me to go over my 5 best tips for building wealth. Okay, so I already told you what I'm going to talk about, and I want you to go over and visit all of their channels because I'm actually going to be popping up eyes in the skies, because a lot of what I'm going to say is going to tie into what they're going to say. But to get more in depth on that piece of the conversation, you're going to have to go over to those channels and get more of the pieces of the puzzle. Okay? Okay. Now, let me tell you how we're going to lay this out. For the first time, this is what I want you to do. I want everybody to grab a pen and a piece of paper because we're going to take notes. We're going to do homework. We are going to get this thing moving so that we all can be on a great journey to getting our wealth creation started. Okay? Now, step 1, what I want you to do, the first exercise we are going to do together is I want you to define what does wealth mean to you. Seriously. Because I know for a fact that when I was a child, when a lot of us were children, we said lofty things like, when I grow up, I want to be rich. Or when I grow up, I want to be wealthy. But exactly what does that mean? What does being rich and wealthy mean? Because what I find is while we hear people say that, a lot of us don't even know how exactly that looks, okay? And so when I look at it, I know what being wealthy means to me. Being wealthy to me means abundance, and it means freedom. It means having the abundance to have choices, an abundance of friends, an abundance of love, an abundance of options. It means being able to travel the planet within reason. And I say that from experience. See, because I know that there is such a thing of too much of a good thing. I've traveled several times on 30-day vacations where I just hopped for 30 days straight from place to place to place to place. And I know that that actually gets old. So you know how a lot of us will say something like, we want to retire so that we can travel. Well, trust and believe that you can retire and you can travel just to find out that you're kind of over it, sick of it. You want some stability in your life, okay? So that's why I know wealth means, for me, it doesn't necessarily mean being able to travel the planet all year long. It means being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it within reason. See, life is about balance. And so my wealth definition that I am writing down on my paper is being wealthy means having the freedom to choose how I like to spend my time and being surrounded by loving people with whom I enjoy spending that time. But that's cute and stuff. But let's go on to number 2. My second tip that I will say, that I will give you, okay? You got that written down, right? You have your definition written down. Okay. And number 2, now that we define what wealth means to us, we're going to have to give it a value. We are. Because while I'm saying that, oh, I want to have all the friends, all the love, all the options, but we already know that freedom is not free. So in this exercise, what I want you to do is calculate your living expenses for a year. Now for me, I know that I am building my wealth for retirement, right? So my wealth is not going to start today. We're not quitting jobs today or anything like that. So when I calculate my expenses for a year, it's the expenses that I expect to have in my retirement years. For instance, today my mortgage is $2,500 a month. But when I retire, I don't expect to have a $2,500 mortgage payment because I expect to be debt-free, to include my mortgage, okay? So I want you to write down what you feel your expenses are going to be when you retire. Write down your mortgage or rent. Write down your insurances, transportation costs, utilities, grooming, food. Take a look back at your definition of wealth. For me, I wrote down wealthy for me means being able to travel. It means being able to enjoy time with friends. So add that into your numbers. So for me, I need to add how much do I expect to pay on travel per year. Travel the way I want to travel. Is my travel going to be luxurious? Am I going to try to look for bone bare budget deals? Am I going to do a mix of it, much like I do now? I want to be surrounded with friends, so I'm going to add in entertainment. I'm going to up my food expenses because I know that I'm probably going to treat people a lot in my wealth. So add that up. For me, it comes to $50,000 a year. So take your number and multiply that by 25. Because one of the formulas say that in your retirement years, for a lot of people, it may start at 65. For some people, it may start at 70. But whatever that starts, you expect to live another good 25 years or more. So when you add that up, this tells us how much money we're going to need to have in an account somewhere, whether it's an investment account, hopefully it's an investment account, or some sort of a savings account. But this is the money that we are going to live off of in our retirement years. So when I add that 50,000 and multiply it by 25, it gives me $1,250,000. And to me, that's a good thing, because honestly, when I was a child and I said I want to be rich when I grew up, I wanted to be wealthy when I grew up, you could have told me I was going to need $1 trillion billion, and who was I to know any differently, because I didn't do the work, right? I honestly thought that I would need more than $1 million in order to comfortably retire and do the things that I want to do in my retirement. So $1,250,000 is my first milestone. This is the number that I need in order to retire and still feel wealthy. Number 3, now that we have our number, what will it take to achieve that number? First, to know where you're going, you have to take stock of where you are. So in this exercise, we are going to calculate our net worth. What I want you to do on your piece of paper is add up all of the things that you own. These are your assets. Now, let me correct that. Not all of the things. Some of the things that you own, because we're not going to go through and add up our furniture, our clothes, our jewelry, things like that. I mean, you can. You can. This is your exercise. You can make it your own. But to make it nice and simple, we're going to add up a few things. We're going to add up things that we own, such as vehicles, properties. What do you have in your savings account or your checking accounts? What about investment accounts, retirement accounts? We're going to add those things up. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to subtract the things that we owe, our liabilities. Who do we owe? What do we owe? Our consumer debts, student loans, car balances, mortgage balances, personal loans. Once you subtract that number from the top number, your assets, this is going to give you your net worth, or also known as where you are starting on this wealth building map. Now, in step 4, we are going to figure out which way we should go. So now that we know where we're at, let's see where we should go. Now, in step 4, this is the order of things that I would do. Okay, now everybody has different opinions on what they would do in this case, but this is what I would do. First thing I would do is I would take a look. If you are employed by an employer, do they have a 401k or 403b account? If so, I would start contributing to that ASAP. I would take a look at my budget and see what I can realistically and comfortably afford to contribute every single paycheck. Does this company provide a match? That will be my first goal. My first goal, like let's say like they provide a 3% match. Like for every 3% that you contribute, they will match that. So my first goal would be to contribute at least 3%, right? So whatever they match, I would try to find a way to contribute that. And then the next goal I would have is to eventually be able to max out my retirement account completely at the tune of $19,500 a year. Okay? This is where we're going to get our compound interest. And then also if your employer matches what you put in, that's also free money that's on the table. So that's the first order of business in wealth building. Okay? The next thing I would do is I would pay down debt. Now, once again, there's different strategies in doing this. Some prefer the debt snowball method, and that's where we're going to start attacking our lowest debt first and then move up to our highest debt. And some prefer the debt avalanche method, and that is where we are going to attack our debt that has the highest interest rates attached. As for me, I prefer the debt snowball method only because I love seeing progress being made and getting things just off of the books, okay? But that is up to you how you decide to tackle this. Now, my rule of thumb here is very simple. What you don't give away in the name of loan interest, you actually get to keep. What we keep is what adds up and ultimately makes us rich. Okay, so you heard the 4 steps, and now this brings us to my 5th and final step. 5th thing? Or is it supposed to be tips? My 5th and final tip. 5th thing. Oh, before we talk about that, before we jump into the next step, guys, do not forget to thumbs up, subscribe if you are not a member of the Fab Fun and Budget family, especially if you are new to this channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Consider becoming a family member by subscribing, and talk to me in the comments below, okay? Now let's get on to our 5th and final tip. My 5th tip to wealth building: get a side hustle. Get a side hustle. Side hustle, okay? These days, I remember back in the day, to have a good side hustle, you had to have like some sort of talent. Like the question would be, well, what are you good at? What are your talents? These days with the internet, you don't even have to really have a talent anymore. There are so many things that you can do online that is just like, it's a matter of a good Google search away. Matter of fact, you can do a search in YouTube. Great side hustles, easy side hustles, anything with the word side hustle, and a ton of ideas is going to pop out at you. But when it comes to wealth, the reason that we want a side hustle is because most of us know that a day job is not going to make us rich. Day jobs are great for stability. But if you want to add on to your wealth building mechanisms faster, you have to bring in some extra income. You're going to have to think outside of the box. And this is where a good side hustle comes into play. As for me, I have a few side hustles. I have YouTube. I'm a writer. And I also house hack by renting out all of the extra bedrooms in my home to help pay off the mortgage of this home. So combined with the income that you make from your job, a good side hustle can really quicken your pace on your path to wealth. So I hope that these exercises were useful, practical, fun, easy enough. But I am Tinesha Davis once again, and this right here was my 5 best tips to wealth building. Until the next time, guys, do not forget to go over and visit the other ladies in this fun collab. Let's talk money. And I will see you all in the next video.